Hello and welcome to the first Absent with Concept Tomb Raider Let's Play. And I am playing Tomb Raider 1 Remastered, which just came out. The first Tomb Raider was actually the first computer game I ever properly played. I never actually had a console as a kid. They didn't really appeal to me. I used to go out a lot. I lived near the countryside and I used to make tapes of my own music and draw and write and things, and I just never seemed to have time for games. But I do remember one of my school friends had a PlayStation. I remember him playing Tomb Raider when I was around his house, and I really enjoyed kind of the exploration. It was all very atmospheric and exploring these weird caverns and stuff, and that really appealed to me. So when I finally got a computer in 1999, I wanted to get Christmas '98 it was, and I wanted to get a couple of games just for something to do on it, and so I chose Tomb Raider, and I ended up with Unfinished Business, as that was available at the time. And I never got massively into gaming, but I did play the first particularly the first four core design Tomb Raider games in and out. Like, I just played them. I know the second game in particular, like the back of my hand. For quite a few years I played them regularly. And then I moved to Mac and haven't played them in ages, so I've been wanting to kind of go back and do them. And with the remasters now coming out, I thought now would be an excellent time to revisit. And that music there, which is just incredible, really evocative music, that takes me right back to Christmas '98, where I was sat at my new computer playing.
I'll take you on a guided tour.
And I did have a go at this earlier.
Use the D-pad to go into the music room.
And I recorded Lara's home, and I recorded caves, and then I went back to look at it.
Let's do some tumbling. Press the jump button.
And
I'll jump that way.
after I'd done it, I went back to the video and it hadn't recorded. And then I installed OBS and that didn't work. I basically spent about 4 hours this afternoon working out how on earth I'm meant to be doing this. And I've finally done it. And I actually worked it out myself rather than actually following any online tips. So this is take 2. And as a result, I won't have quite as many excited wow moments at how amazing it looks, but it really does look incredible. Just comparing it to the very blocky original. And the amazing thing about this remastered package is that you can seamlessly jump between the original '96 graphics and the latest ones. And it's nice to have the original there as well, because I look at this and this brings back a lot more nostalgia than obviously playing with the remastered version. But at the same time, it's just great to see it looking like something that resembles reality. And they've done an incredible job, because it's not just the graphics, it's the lighting as well. This is just blanket lighting on the original, and shadows and just everything. It just looks fantastic. I'm really blown away by it. I thought it might be a slight upgrade, but yeah, it's really incredible. And that's also kind of a nice thing. It's just a great time to be sort of replaying this, because, like I say, I haven't played these games in years. When I've wanted to play them, I've had to go to YouTube and watch other people doing Let's Plays, and that's been fun, but it's nice to be able to actually do it myself. And I've always wanted Lara to be able to play these instruments, but obviously the game isn't anywhere near that interactive. Apparently this music score here is of the actual theme, Nathan McCree's fantastic Tomb Raider theme. Now come on, Lara, come on, sit down and play it. No. So yeah, let's go have a quick explore of Lara's home. These new paintings on here are wonderful. You can see that they're clearly what the originals were sort of based on, which I'd never really noticed before. I suppose you just sort of see them as a bit of decor, but they're not clear enough to tell what they are. But suddenly, with the actual full kind of paintings there. They make her home look fantastic. And
Ah, the main hall. Sorry about the crates. I'm having some things put into storage and the delivery people haven't been yet.
And yeah, also just really enjoying Tomb Raider 1 Lara and her slightly less condescending, smugly posh voice. I really don't like the way her voice went over the original
Run
Claw
up to a
games.
crate, and while still pressing forward, press action, and I'll vault up onto it.
She just sounds a lot more likeable. Wow, that painting's changed. That was a portrait of a green blocky person, and now it's a beautiful sunset. And this crate contains booze and umbrellas, apparently. So, obviously a garden party.
This used to be the ball. I don't actually run everywhere. With the walk button down, I won't fall off even if you try to make me. If you want to look around, press and hold the look button. Then press in the direction you want to look.
When I was first playing it, I realised that some of the controls aren't actually on this keyboard, like the roll. In fact, I can remember what I did with roll now. But it's amazing how
If a
quickly
jump
I've
is too far
adjusted.
for me, I can grab the ledge and save myself from a nasty fall. Walk to the edge with the white line until I won't go in. Press forward and I'll climb up.
Like I say, I can't have played these games for more than 10 years, and yet I just picked up the controls so easily again. And I hear a lot of, you get a lot of complaints from kind of modern gamers about the controls being clunky and slow and awkward and stuff.
Right, this is a really big one.
As I say,
So
I'm
do a
not.
running jump exactly as before. Except if I do a running jump,
I'm not
I
really
walk
a
to the edge
gamer.
with the white line until I stop.
I have a few. I've played a
Then
few
let
over
go
the
of
years.
walk and tap backwards
But-
to give me a run up.
Oh God.
Press forward and
Um,
almost immediately press.
but Tomb
and
Raider
hold
is
the jump
mostly
button. I won't actually jump until the last minute.
the majority of all the gaming I've done is on Tomb Raider, so I'm totally
Right,
used
this
to
is a
these
really
tank
big one.
controls.
So do a running jump exactly as before, except while I'm in the air, press and hold the action button. Nice.
So it's kind of this just comes naturally to me. I am yet to fully
Try to vault up here.
get
I can't
used to
climb up
playing a
because
game
the
with a
gap was too
mouse.
small. But press right, and I'll shimmy sideways until there is room. Then press forward,
This is why I never got on with the Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raiders,
Tap
because they just
backwards.
feel wrong.
and I'll jump off backwards. Immediately press and hold the action button, and I'll grab the ledge on the way down. Let's go for a swim.
The
jump button.
The
and
tank controls
directions
just
move
feel,
me around underwater.
to me, they're as important a part of the game as Lara and the settings and her exploring tombs and the types of puzzles and platforming that is involved in the game. It's just as important. The tank controls are where you get all the kind of the jumps from. A lot of the game is kind of learning the controls, and once you master them, then you know exactly where she's going to jump, where she's going to land, what she's going to be able to grab, and so on.
Air. Just use forward and left and right to manoeuvre around on the surface. Press jump to dive down for another swim about, or go to the edge and press action to climb out.
And yeah, I suppose it's just weird thinking that this version of the game does actually have the modern controls. I've not even tried them yet. I probably will at some point, but that's not really what I'm trying to do here. Because, like I say, every bit of platforming and every puzzle is timed perfectly using the grid system and the tank controls. So I kind of don't see the point in having the modern ones, but I suppose some people will much prefer them. For whatever reason, people seem to hate these controls. But from what I've seen on Reddit so far, people are having a lot of trouble and just not timing the jumps properly, which you can't do without that grid.
Right. Now I'd better take off these wet clothes.
You can, of course, get out the other side of the swimming pool and head off back into Lara's home, but there's nothing to do there yet. Obviously, it expands in the later games. They're fun to kind of play with. Right, yeah, so it's loading, but I'll start a new game because I'm starting the video fresh. And here we have the initial FMV where there's a nuclear test, and there's the lid of Natla's tomb. First time I played this, I had no idea what was going on. There's no hand holding in this. You learn the story when you repeatedly watch it. They've obviously not redone the FMVs because that would be a huge expense for very little benefit. I mean, yeah, that font looks appalling and almost unreadable, but apart from that, they're perfectly watchable.
It's hard to say exactly.
Lara and Larson.
Well, great.
And
Though truth is, it
have
ain't
they
me
met
that wants
here
you.
yet?
No.
No idea.
Natla does. From Natla Technologies.
This does not tie in with
creator of all things bright and
Lara,
beautiful.
with Larson and Pierre
Seal it, Larson.
in Chronicles at all. It's complete
Feast your eyes
nonsense.
on this, Lara. How does that
Natla and
make
Lara
you,
with a
woman?
laptop doing a video call in
I'm sorry. I
1996,
only play for sport.
which didn't
Then you're
exist.
like a big park.
Although, funnily enough, I never actually questioned that at the time.
Vast mountain ranges to cover, sheer walls of ice, rocky crags, savage winds, and there's this little trinket. An age-old artifact of mystical power is buried in the unfound tomb of Kuala.
I used to think it's
That's
Quatlepec.
my interest. You could leave tomorrow.
I'm
Are
a
you busy tomorrow?
voracious reader. My mum always said as a kid I devoured books and I read really fast. So I don't think I'm dyslexic or anything, but it's so often that I will read words in my head as just being pronounced differently to what they are. Qualipec has always been Quatlepec. I don't know where that T came from. And there's just lots of little things like that. Especially if it's a word I'm not familiar with or whatever, I would just swap the letters around or put another letter in randomly. So in my head it's always going to be Quatlepec, even though that sounds daft. This is a kind of a legendary opening thing. It's fantastic. Just sets the tone of it brilliantly. Like, I think much more so than the opening of any of the other games. Well, I suppose there isn't really one in. Certainly not in 3. But here you've got Lara out in the wilds, climbing a mountain, entering a tomb, getting attacked by wolves. Iconic twin pistols. I mean, obviously those wolves are just run out to say hello. Hello, welcome to our home. We'll be your guides on this exciting journey, and Lara, being Lara, has just gone, no, I'm going to shoot you all. Because she's responsible for the destruction of more endangered species than any other human being. Wow, look at that, it's almost photorealistic. And here we are. First time I played it, this level took me nearly 2 hours. The first time I'd ever played a computer game, so obviously I was not going to master it, but I have such strong, vivid memories of this, and just spending hours exploring it, and it being really amazing and sometimes frustrating. But those background sounds are really, they just really take me back. More than any of the other kind of background ambience in any of the Tomb Raider games. This is my favourite one because it just takes me right back to first playing it as a kid. And we have an opening, and this is something which the original game didn't have. The original game, everything's inside with the possible exception of Lost Valley, which is kind of a discussion point. But in this game they've kind of put all these openings in, which, it makes it aesthetically, this is lovely. I love the snow here. I love the fact that they've kind of rendered them as, they could just be white dots, but they're all individually kind of created snowflakes with all the geometric kind of stuff in them. it's real kind of attention to detail on that makes it kind of obvious that this isn't just kind of a half-assed let's just put some new textures on and be done type thing. But I have seen discussion about whether this is kind of going against the tone or the mood of the original, and I sort of agree. I like the fact that these places were really underground, isolated. You know, you were completely alone in some sort of undiscovered place. Having all these gaps, it's like, well, someone would have found this by now. And of course, the daylight really just makes it seem less claustrophobic. And yeah, so I'm kind of split. I think they are really good. I do really like them. I mean, that's really beautiful. But I think thematically they don't quite work. But that's fine. If I'm desperate for the original experience, the original graphics are always there. First time I played this, I had no idea that noise meant a secret. It was just a noise. It was like, oh, here's something interesting or something. Just some interesting music. It took me quite a while, I think probably until I got my first walkthrough guide, that I realised, oh, these are secrets and I'm meant to be collecting them. Walkthroughs were, of course, absolutely essential back then. I can't imagine that many people will have completed Tomb Raider or the various games without walkthroughs, especially the third one. If anyone had ever completed Tomb Raider 3 without any help or hints or whatever, let me know, because I will be in awe of you. God, the lighting is so much better. This kind of blanket lighting always made it feel a little bit, not two-dimensional, just a bit flat and lifeless. That's gorgeous. Ooh. And footprints of the wolves here as they ran out to greet us to say hello. Lara, on the other hand, does not leave a single footprint in the snow. Richie Edwards from the Manics would have been very jealous. Is that another bat? I can hear another bat. The first enemies, as simple as they come. I love the way this game really does. It eases you in a way that the others don't. Especially 3. Well, actually, having said that, 2 starts on an incredibly nasty level. I was talking on Reddit recently, and someone was sort of saying about what order to play the games in. And oh yeah, this here, everyone's saying they can't get on this by jumping. And of course, you don't jump; you just press forward and action. It takes you up. I spent about 20 minutes trying to get up there using jump. First time I played it. I don't know why it's like that. There's not another ledge like that in any of the games, I don't think. But yeah, on Reddit, I was sort of saying, yeah, play them in order, because to be honest, Caves is just as much of a kind of tutorial as Lara's Home, if not more. This level in particular is really where you get your where you learn how this game works. Obviously, the jumps and the specific controls, yeah, you get them in Lara's Home, but this is where you learn how to play the game. It's pretty much all this level's for, because it's obviously so simple. I mean, last few times I played it, I would just do it like a speedrun. I could do it in less than 5 minutes. But it's got everything you would kind of want from a tutorial level. It introduces everything really slowly. Your first enemies are bats. The first secrets are really easy, and also, God, these leaves are incredible. Wow. I mean, the light, it's a shame. The lighting has obviously gone for something realistic, but at the same time, you don't really see that as much as you could. But compare it to sort of some Tetris squares of moss. That sort of textural, tactile plant there is fantastic. I love this mist as well. It's really, it's just wonderful. And the light coming in from outside. Again, it just adds so much, like, compared to that. Makes you wonder how on earth this was ever lit up. Although I suppose you don't think about that when you're first playing it. Oh, again, more wonderful, gorgeous plants there. And when I played this through this afternoon, I missed one pickup. And I explained that I'm not doing all pickups because, honestly, the only game I know well enough to potentially do all pickups is Tomb Raider 2, which I probably played as much as all the others put together. But I'm going to try and get as many as I can. I'm going to try and do all secrets as well. I can remember where most of them are, but not all. So we'll just see where that takes me. A little bit of music there, which still seems odd to me. I don't know if this was the same on all PC versions, but certainly the unfinished business version that I had, there's no music, just this background ambience. Yeah, the music was in the later games. So to me, whenever I've watched a Let's Play of these early games, of this first game, and people have done it either on Steam or whether it might be their PlayStation or whatever, it's just felt wrong because I'm like, I expect it to have this real kind of lonely feeling. Sorry, Mr. Wolf. I actually don't need to kill you, but I will probably be heading down there. This is probably my first memory of Tomb Raider, this room with the two bridges. I remember my school friend playing the game and showing me. I just really vividly remember this room, and this is a fantastic room. The design is just really like... Up until now, it has just been, some grey caves with a bit of snow, but this is obviously designed to just look fantastic. Really memorable. And, this is meant to be a lost kind of city, and while obviously, you don't get many people flying over Peruvian mountains in helicopters, someone must have seen this amount of holes. I mean, I don't know, what is that? Is that like an ice sheet, maybe? That's meant to be an ice sheet, so it is a hole. But yeah, it does take a little bit away from it, but then again, there's no real sense of believability in these games anyway. Yeah, they've made... When Crystal Dynamics took over Tomb Raider, they made them, a lot more realistic, but to me that took away some of the charm, like the almost kind of cartoon-like daftness of some Tomb Raider things. Like this chap here, who looks a lot better. God, that skull is really... Like, you can barely tell what that is, but yes, it's a person who's been wrapped up in some rope and left to die. Some lovely people who lived in this place before. Yeah, the Crystal Dynamics... Well, I mean, I don't know anything about the Survivor trilogy, but certainly the Legend trilogy, they're a lot more realistic, but just find they're a bit less memorable as a result. A lot of the textures are the same. You don't get these really vivid colours and weird designs and admittedly totally unrealistic kind of puzzles and level layouts and stuff, but that's kind of the charm of Tomb Raider. It's a puzzle game, it's not a realistic exploration adventure game. This bear was the bane of my life when I was playing it first time. I just couldn't kill it. I was like, oh, what do I do? Before I'd mastered combat. It must have killed me about 10 times before I got it. And yes, once again, Lara totally unnecessarily going around killing animals. And what did this look like before? Oh, with its buck teeth. It's now got a few more. And then wading through it, because that's what you do with an animal corpse. Now, is this where my missed pickup was? Is there something? Yes, that was it. I missed that last time round. And back into this room again. That doesn't look like a very nice way did die. No blood though. Obviously Lara could have just parachuted into one of these holes. But I suppose that's less fun. Now there's a piece of music coming up just now, which I often see kind of sort of people mention this as a really kind of iconic piece of music, and it's really, it is quite exciting. But it has what I think of as like probably what I like the least about the Tomb Raider 1 music, and that is it goes on forever. Like in the second game, and I remember borrowing my friend's Tomb Raider 2 disc and just playing it like a CD before I even had a computer, and so I know the music from that really well. They're all little stings, they last 10-15 seconds during the action. Here we've got some really dramatic music for two wolves, and they're dead. They've been dead a few seconds. The music's carrying on. Thankfully, the secret chime will shut it up. But yeah, it just seems a bit jarring. But then again, I think a lot of that, like I say, is to do with the fact that I never actually played this version with the music, and it's kind of a new thing to me. I love this. The texture on that is absolutely incredible compared to the blur that it was before. They've obviously gone back to either the original design or what it was that inspired the original design. Like, they've remained really faithful to it, but yeah, that just looks incredible. So yeah, this is kind of the first time I will be playing it with the music. Like I say, I've only ever really seen it on other people's Let's Plays, and I watched them because, like I said, I was on Mac for I still have a Mac, but I've got a laptop now, a Windows laptop, and even installing Windows as a sort of secondary OS on that, when I was playing Tomb Raider, it would for some reason it would come up in a window, and the frame of the window would kind of obscure the health bar and stuff, and it just made it just an absolute pain. So I haven't played any for ages. So I would just like watch Let's Plays. This is a lovely piece of music. It's sad that this one was never in a later game. Although it sounds a lot like a Tomb Raider 3 piece actually. That time door there took me about 45 minutes, I think, first time I played it, until you get used to the controls and the jumps and stuff, even though it's such a slow time door, because again, what it's doing is it's very slowly introducing you to all the different elements, puzzles and styles of gameplay that the game contains. And yeah, I think it's such a good first level because of that. There's no real challenge to a returning player, but as an introduction, this level is just absolutely perfect. Yeah, I've had a good time watching some people do Let's Plays. I want to shout out to Suzanne the Raider, who I've watched do all the core games, including Angel of Darkness and Legend and Underworld, and I've joined her on a couple of live streams as well. Yeah, you see, no matter how experienced you are, you can still randomly fall off a ledge and get hit by a dart. Yeah, so I've been enjoying her Let's Plays recently, and before that, one's by Tina Von Rotter, who she doesn't seem to have been online for ages, and she's gone all weird and got a life and a family and stuff. I don't know. People. But yeah, so I've enjoyed them, and I just sort of wanted to give it a go myself, because I suppose I like sharing thoughts on things that I like. There we go. Excessive music. Yeah, no need for music. Bit much. Oh, new trophy. And yeah, I suppose I was thinking of doing it anyway because I've recently started up this YouTube channel. And I kind of wanted to cover things that are maybe not widely covered by people on YouTube. You do get a lot of... There are Tomb Raider Let's Plays, but not that many compared to a lot of games, certainly with these older core design games. And then these remasters came out and I thought, well, that's perfect time to do it. Although, of course, now there will be more people doing it than ever, so I'll get lost in the noise. But there we go. But it's just quite nice to revisit these and to have a chat about them. And of course this gate down here we passed a long time ago. That is the room just before you climb up that corner and you get to the room with the double bridge in. And obviously Lara couldn't get through this hundreds of year old wooden gate because despite having pistols with unlimited ammo that can kill bears and all sorts, they can't shatter wood. And this is a recurring thing in Tomb Raider. The amount of times where she goes around really unnecessarily dangerous circuitous routes instead of just, you know, shooting through a wooden door is it's incredibly daft. And there we go. All secrets, all pickups, 18 minutes 15, which, well, that's 4 minutes less than the one I did this afternoon, but other than that, that's the longest it's taken me since probably last century. Because, you know, when you're playing it normally you can just get through it, even with all pickups you can do it in a few minutes. But it's been really nice to revisit that. A real kind of nostalgia there, going back to my childhood and spending forever wandering around these caves, wondering what on earth I'm meant to be doing. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I would love to hear any comments, any thoughts. This is very much a new thing for me, so, you know, hopefully I will be able to keep this going. I want to play through all the core games, ideally, starting with these remasters. And I'm also going to have some other videos. We're looking at some of my favourite music, books, TV shows, other things like that on my YouTube channel. So if you want to like and subscribe, you'll get updates on them. And of course, as always, it will help, especially as I'm just starting out. Any kind of response would be great because it means more people will view this and hopefully people will find it and enjoy it. Okay, thank you for watching. And see you in the city of Vilcabamba.